So recently, Bethesda just announced something pretty big quietly that's going to be coming to Fallout 76. And I'm not talking about the Atlantic City DLC, how we're going to be able to travel to Atlantic City in the future. I'm not talking about that. I know they did just recently announce that too, a little while back, but they just actually announced something else more recent, and we're going to be able to experience this sooner than the Atlantic City, which I thought was pretty interesting. We're actually able to experience this right now, but they're not giving us the full details of what all is in this new update. As you can see here, I'll go ahead and start off with the Inside of the Vault article they just recently posted a few days ago. And then I'll get into some of the changes that I know that are coming within this update that they're being quiet about at the moment. They haven't gave us the full details of what's to come yet. They're letting us try to figure out what's to come before they actually announce it. I will say near the end of this video, I go over some new holotapes that were just added within this PTS that hint to possibly some content we'll be seeing in the Atlantic City DLC. You're definitely going to want to hear these. They're pretty interesting. But yeah, anyways, as you can see here in the Inside the Vault article, it states, Fallout 76 Inside the Vault, upcoming PTS and Invaders from Beyond returns. Welcome back to Inside the Vault. We hope you're having a great summer thus far and enjoying the new public events and cryptids that have surfaced in Appalachia with our latest update, Once in a Blue Moon. We have been working hard behind the scenes to prepare for our journey to Atlantic City, and can't wait for you to experience this new area. Before we venture to the boardwalk, however, we have some changes to the base game experience that we are eager to hear your feedback on in our public test server. And this is where it gets pretty interesting to me. First off, it seems like they are trying to polish the game before they release Atlantic City, which gets me wondering, how big is Atlantic City going to be? I think it's going to be a little different than just your ordinary expedition that we go on, but that's just an assumption. It does seem like Bethesda is thinking they're going to be getting quite a bit of new players since they are trying to polish the base game. It's got me curious. Anyways, carrying on with this article by Bethesda, it states here, new PTS build releases today. For this round of our public test server, we're going to do things a little differently. For starters, we're not going to tell you exactly what we changed in Fallout 76, at least not yet. We have made some significant changes to the base game that you will notice upon starting a brand new character and venturing outside of the vault. Because of this, we will not import your existing characters to the PTS right away as usual. Instead, take yourself back to that moment you booted up Fallout 76 for the first time, and let us know what your experience feels like. After you've had a full weekend to explore and play, we'll return with an update highlights and changes article with high-level details on what changes were actually made. So that's good to know. We will know here soon on all of the changes that have been made with this new update we're going to be getting soon. So yeah, after this, it just talks about, how to join the PTS if you haven't experienced it before, which you just have to have Fallout 76 on Steam and you'll be able to join the public test server. And also, this article carries on and talks about the Invaders from Beyond event returning on July 4th, and it will end on July 11th. Invaders from Beyond, by the way, is a limited time event that comes around sometimes in the game. So yeah, this is coming back around for us to experience. But yeah, that's the article. Definitely pretty interesting. Bethesda is leaving this new update that they're going to be releasing before Atlantic City in mystery at the moment. They just quietly said, hey, the PTS is live, but we're not going to tell you what's in the PTS. You're going to have to figure that out yourself. And the community has figured out a little bit of what's going to be coming within this update from the PTS. Let's go ahead and get into some of what's been discovered that's going to be coming. First off, now when we exit out of Vault 76, if you're a new player or you create a new character, you can start that character at level 20, which this is great, especially for newer players that are getting into the game. It gives them a great head start to start with. You can also still choose to start at level 1 too if you want. As you can see here, you got two options to choose from. The right side, which is starting at level 1, or the left side, which starts us at level 20. And on top of that, you get to choose what build you would prefer too. Like if you choose the shotgun build, you'll start off with a shotgun. As you can see here is my inventory after choosing the shotgun build. And you'll also, of course, get ammunition as well. Also, you'll get a full set of armor. And you'll have a shotgun build already ready to go with perk cards. So yeah, this is how it will be for any build. You'll start off with the specific weapons and ammunition that are based around the build. a full set of armor, and you'll start off with a decent starter perk card setup over the build. And you'll also get some other goodies as well, such as building supplies. Every build will come with plenty of building supplies to start building your camp. You also get to start the major quest lines too. As some of you may know, to do the new arrivals quest, which is the Wastelanders quest line with the Overseer, you have to be at least level 20. And this is an extremely important quest to complete because this is how you unlock a new gold bullion vendor. And this gold bullion vendor sells Secret Service armor and a lot of other stuff too. And it's also beneficial for some other reasons as well. It's definitely a crucial quest line to do. And also, you'll be able to start the Brotherhood of Steel quest line immediately too, right after exiting the vault as well. This is another one that's going to require you to be at least level 20 to start. So yeah, I think that's another reason why Bethesda chose level 20 specifically, because this is when you can start the major crucial quest lines to complete. So right after exiting out of the vault, you can start these immediately. And these will help level you up as well while you do them. But yeah, I'm personally excited about this whole change. I think this is a great one. And I can see a lot of other players being grateful for this change too, especially new players that are just jumping into the game in the future. It's interesting how Bethesda is preparing for new players to be coming. I have a feeling the Atlantic City is going to be a hit. Hopefully, at least. Just wishful thinking. But yeah, another change that they made within this update is that they added a donation box over here next to Pennington, which Pennington is located right by Vault 76. It's one of the first NPCs you have to talk to in the game. Yeah, as you can see, they added a donation box right here, and on this box, it has a note that you can read, and here's what the note says. Hey newcomers, welcome to Appalachia. Hell of a place, isn't it? There's a lot of danger and a lot of excitement waiting for you. I got some help when I first stepped into this big, beautiful, irradiated world. I figured you deserved the same, so in that spirit, I built a little box for gift giving. A place for the haves to leave something for the have-nots. If you see something you want, take it. If not, well, you'll survive. Good luck out there. Signed, your friendly neighborhood wastelander. How neat is this? I can see also, just not newcomers grabbing things out of this donation box. I think in general, this donation box is going to help the general community of the game. Hopefully, players that are actually needing help go to this and get some things out of it. I can see a lot of players donating stim packs, the ones that have tons of them, into this donation box, and some other useful things for players to have. All in all, I think this is an awesome addition to the game personally, because in general, I already dropped loot at Vault 76 for new players, so them just adding a donation box for players to put things into for newcomers or just in general players that are needing some assistance is great. That right there is like banding the community together even more. Of course, I can also see, some people that don't even need stuff coming here and just taking it and selling it, but hopefully that's not the majority of players. I don't see that being the majority of players. Most players in Fallout 76 are extremely giving. This community is actually pretty known to be one of the nicest communities out there. I've heard a few different people's stories of them starting out and getting help from other players, which is just awesome to hear. So yeah, pretty cool of Bethesda to actually add a donation box where you can put things inside of it for players to come and get it. Pretty awesome. I can also see players just exchanging things too. Like they take some things, then they add some things from their inventory that they want to give into the donation box. Either way, I think this is personally a great addition to the game, because there's already tons of players, once again, that dropped stuff for newcomers over here at Vault 76 and at the White Spring train station too, in the blue suitcase. There's quite a bit of players that leave stuff in there too to help out other players potentially. Anyways, also in this update, we're getting some new perk cards too. As you can see, here's one of them that I know about, Arms Keeper. Your rifles will be able to weigh less using this perk card. You can get your rifles to weigh 75% less. And another one that I know about is Stable Tools. As you can see here, this will make it so your automatic melee weapons will break slower, such as the Mr. Handy Buzzblade, the chainsaw, or heck, even a drill or something. As you can see, you can get your automatic melee weapons to break 40% slower if you max out this new perk card. So yeah, those are some other things. Also, they switched up outside of Vault 76 too with the enemies. There used to be liberators over here, and now you can discover ghouls that you can take on. So yeah, you'll be able to go up against some easier enemies instead of getting hit by those laser beams from the liberators. But another awesome thing that's going to be added with this update is we're going to be able to now see the unlearned plans that we don't have quite yet. As you can see, if you go to a workbench, there's now a category where you can go to check out the plans you haven't learned yet. You can go up to a weapons workbench and check out all the weapon plans you haven't learned yet. You can go up to an armor's workbench and check out all the apparel and armor that you can't craft yet. And you can even go up to a cooking station and check out all the recipes you haven't learned yet. You get it. You can now see what's in the game and what you haven't learned to craft yet, which I think this is a great addition, especially for completionists who want to discover everything in the game. I gotta say, this is definitely handy for players in general. Also, legendary enemies no longer regenerate their health. Thought this was an interesting change. As some of you may know, at half health with a legendary enemy, it would regenerate back, but now that's not a thing. Instead, Bethesda has just given them that total amount of health all in one. So you'll have to take out that health, and the legendary enemy doesn't just regenerate health anymore. So yeah, that's a pretty interesting change. This applies to the boss fights as well in the game, such as Earl Williams, the Scorched Beast Queen, and the Ultrasight Titan. But yeah, now I'm going to go ahead and get into these interesting holotapes that were added within this update as well. It seems like these holotapes could be hinting at some new things that will be coming in the game, maybe around when the Atlantic City DLC comes around. Let's go ahead and get into these. These first two that I'll be showing y'all will be located over at the White Spring Resort. I'll go ahead and show you where you can find them at in here. You can find one right here on this bar next to this raider. As you can see, it's called A Night at the Neapolitan, Part 1.
Takes a lot of chems to get thrown out of the Neapolitan, but we were riding the line. My confidant and I made the trip to cover the Showman's Games, a world-renowned exercise in high-stakes barbarism. Few in the entertainment world could match. Instead, we spent most of our time getting hopped up on Daddy-O and chugging bourbon in the casino bar. It seemed a logical course of action. The games were notoriously deadly even for bystanders. Liquid courage and a head full of hallucinogens were the obvious defense. What we didn't count on was the devil's blood. We'd never heard of this stuff, and for good reason. It's an AC specialty. We weren't supposed to have it. It wasn't meant for us, but for the real high rollers. The people who, even in a world ravaged by pestilence and war, still managed to come out on top. But we found a way. The exclusivity made it all the sweeter. Not because we aspired to that lifestyle. Quite the opposite. We wanted to soil the royal concoction inside our mangy, flea-ridden hides.
So as you heard there, a guy named Jack Hunter talked about something called the Showman's Games over at this place that he was at. Also, he talked about a casino as well as something called the Devil's Blood, which seemed to be only for high rollers. So yeah, I think this is actually hinting at some things we're going to be getting when we get the Atlantic City DLC. Because as some of you may know, in the trailer for the Atlantic City DLC, it did show a casino that we could go to. However, it didn't show anything in the trailer about the Showman's Games, or the blood for only high rollers. But I will say the Showman's Games seems like some kind of arena, because he did say it's a renowned exercise in high stakes barbarism. So yeah, more than likely there's combat within the Showman's Games. Definitely interesting. These could be things that we could be experiencing in the future. Anyways, you can find part 2 of A Night at the Neapolitan over here in the White Spring Resort as well on this pool table. Here's what Jack Hunter says within this holotape.
You think with all that tinkering,
One hit is all it took to realize we'd made a terrible mistake. Even for degenerates as celebrated as ourselves, this was too much. The trip wasn't bad, it was glorious, horrifyingly so. We knew instantly that this was what money could buy. And we knew we'd never have it again. We witnessed firsthand the life that was being kept from us. And as much as we wanted to reach out and take it,
Always make
we
sure
couldn't
to
do anything more than slump in our chairs and watch as it drifted away. The consequences would be more than spiritual. Every inch of our bodies yearned for more after that first hit. Haddock wouldn't be enough to cure this hunger. No, maybe nothing will.
These holotapes right here has definitely got me pretty excited about what's to come, and heck, we may even get to meet Jack Hunter over at Atlantic City or something in the future. I don't know, it is a possibility though. Also, you can find some other holotapes with this guy in them too over at the Metal Dome. You can find Jack Hunter talking within this holotape here. Here's what this one says.
It's a long hike to the Metal Dome. Jagged paths up the cliffs above Monongah are the only feasible way for pilgrims to reach this shrine to violence. You have to be a certain kind of lunatic to make the journey. One wrong move and you're dashed upon the rocks below, fodder for rabid wolves and mutant lizards. Not to mention that your future hosts, the engineers of death that call themselves the Rust Eagles, are less than welcoming to outsiders. Luckily, I'm anything but sane. I climbed the mountain to witness with my own two eyes the bloody spectacle these brutal raiders were only too eager to display. I knew what I was walking into, or thought I knew, but still, I was unprepared for what I was about to witness and for the feelings it stirred inside me. The first thing to reach you is the sound of it. From half a mile away, the shriek of steel cutting steel reassures you haven't come all this way for nothing. But what really sticks with you is the stench. The rot of decaying corpses, the smell of searing flesh, and the stink of oil that pervades every inch of the place. Fumes that drive the Rusties into an ecstatic frenzy whenever one of their bots extinguishes a human life. You settle in to witness the action in the arena, and the worst part is you can't look away. You get so sucked in you forget about the last shred of humanity you used to have. You tell yourself you want the gladiators to win as the carnage unfolds below. It's the only way to justify your sheer captivation. Yet you acknowledge that it grips you like you've never thought possible. No matter what else you've seen in this God-forsaken world, there's simply nothing like the thrill of it.
And you can find another one as well over at Al Tattoo's Parlor in Morgantown. Right before heading down to where Biv is located at, where you learn how to make Nuka Shine, you can find a holotape on this little cabinet here. And here's what Jack Hunter says in this one.
I've taken every drug in the wasteland. Daddy-O, Mentad's Day Tripper, they each have their ups and downs, but Nuka Shine took me on a ride. I didn't expect it. Not from a swig of Appalachian hooch. I grew up on that stuff. Kentucky will do that to you. It was almost like a betrayal. The first sip had the same familiar burn. Then it kicked you in the head like a 2-ton Brahmin, and it was all downhill from there. Colors that I didn't know existed flashed before my eyes. The trees around me morphed into ravenous ghouls. Beset on all sides, I reached for my gun and pulled a Tato from the holster. "Useless thing," I shouted. By then, the ghouls had me. There was little I could do. I took off my shoe and beat him with it, to no avail. I decided to succumb, just devour me. I thought, well, what's the use of struggling at this point? Maybe some lucky cannibal will happen upon my scraps and get a free meal. At least that would give my death some meaning. I I let my mind wander as my body ceased to be. A cool breeze on the Florida coast. The splashing of the Mississippi. The green hills of Appalachia. A violent storm in the distance. I drifted from one to the next as my flesh broke into 1,000 tiny pieces of ghoul fodder. Suddenly, sunlight. I sat up. I was whole on the temporal plane. Far too pleasant a place to be hell, Appalachia. The green hills from my vision. The crisis was over. I was still alive, with an empty jug of Nuka Shine by my side.
So yeah, I'm not exactly sure who Jack Hunter is, but he seems to be popping up quite a bit in this update. But yeah, I guess that's not wrapping up this video. Just wanted to share some of these new things that were discovered within the PTS. Hopefully you all found this video interesting. I gotta say, the PTS has been a fun experience, especially when it first opened up. Oh my gosh, the events were actually tough. Like going up against the Agua, we couldn't even take out the Agua at the end of the Beast of Burden events. It was that tough. Like, as you can see here, we were shooting it so many times, but it seemed like it had infinite health. Yeah, the events actually felt tough because all players, started at lower levels. It made the whole experience of going through Fallout 76 different. I gotta say, it has been some fun. But yeah, I'm out of here, everyone. I would love to know some of your guys' thoughts about some of this. Feel free to jot it down below in the comments. As always, thanks for taking the time, watching and listening. Until next time, peace.